Hey, YouTube people. I'm sitting here painting and I basically just finished this page and I'm trying to remember if I had started this one and I started this yesterday. I just finished it. Actually, it's not even done because it's still wet and I probably want to splatter some gold on there. So I will do that when these dark layers are dry because I don't want it to spread into that paint. But this one I'm really happy with. I feel like it's just perfect in every way, in my opinion. And my opinion is the only one that really matters in this case, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say I love it. I have a new paper ready to go, and then I also have a very light underpainting done on this page. This is a new sketchbook. I finished my last watercolor sketchbook, the only other watercolor sketchbook that I have going. That's not true. The only other 100% cotton watercolor sketchbook I have going. I finished it. So I do have this one, and I don't know. After that, like after this, I'm not quite sure what I'll do in terms of watercolor sketchbooks. I have a lot of other sketchbooks going, but also this is an Arteza watercolor sketchbook. This is not 100% cotton, but I do love this paper. In terms of non-cotton papers, this is really good paper for me for the way I paint. But I do like to have a cotton one going just because cotton paper is so lovely. This paper is Fluid 100, 100% cotton, 140 pounds. They also have a 300 pound that is really delightful, but I mean, it's really expensive, and unless I got to the point where I was like really selling my paintings, which maybe down the road I will do that, but right now, like painting on 300-pound paper, I just don't really. Okay, I'm just putting in, I sprayed the paper with my mister. I'm dipping into my dirtiest water cup and just putting some of that. It's like almost like a purpley gray color. Just starting off with that. I don't know what I'm painting. I'm just doing things. A little yellow. The yellows I use tend to be muted yellows. And if I use a brighter yellow, like this yellow is, I don't really know how to say it, but Arulian, and it is a brighter yellow, but I always tone it down with either some of this buff titanium, and I go in between my yellows all the time. I don't really care, but I try not to contaminate my lighter colors with darker colors. So, but my yellows, I'm always mixing those up. So I don't care if I go in there with a dirty brush into the buff titanium, like whatever. Rinsing off my brush. I'm just gonna like play with what's here a little. Again, this is not like, I don't know what this painting is going to be. Oh, here we go. I gotta get some of this. This is, what's it called? Hematite burnt scarlet genuine, I think. I am always doing this every time I paint and I talk about these colors. Yeah, burnt scarlet genuine. It's an incredible color. I'd want it to be watered down. I know you can't see exactly what I'm doing with the palette because just it's too much to get in one. But anyway, I'm trying to get it watered down a bit so it's not super intense yet. I am just putting this in to this painting. I'm dipping into my water as I go to lighten the value even more. Ooh, I like this. So yeah, that's that. I may also dip into my Bronzite Genuine. Oh, and these are all Daniel Smith colors I'm talking about. I use a lot of different brands, but Daniel Smith, I mean, they know what they're doing, man. They know what they're doing with the colors. They are so gorgeous and wonderful. So like that might be a little much, so I'm just going in with my brush that I just cleaned off and dabbed on the little towel here, and I'm just lifting. But you also have to consider that watercolor, a lot of times it dries lighter than what it looks like when it's wet. So sometimes you put color down and it seems like you went too far, but once it dries, it lightens up. So anyway, this is a future abstract. That's how I start a lot of my paintings, just throwing pigments around and seeing what happens. I like leaving some edges. I like that because once there are much darker values on top of this, those will just be, if I can show you on this painting, see how these lighter values are sort of fading into the background and they just add to the whole energy of the painting. I like that. That's why I like doing a underpainting a lot of the times. I don't always do it. I didn't do it on this one, and I like that too because yes, I have lighter values in here, but I didn't start this one like this. I just started with these little like swatches, and then I built up the value as I went along. And this gives it a bit of a cleaner look at the end than this, but this gives it just this little edge of like mystery all around, and I like doing it both ways. So this will need to dry. That is cotton paper, so it'll take a little time to dry. And I might play with this page now. Just to let you know, this is an 8x8, 8 inches square block of paper that I used. You know, it's funny, I have this one too that I did this underpainting literally months ago and I have not finished it. So I do actually have a plan for this one, but I don't really feel like painting it yet. It's going to be like a floral painting. So let me just move this over so maybe you can see it a little bit better. And then I can move this whole thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I have my other watercolor palette over here too, which some of these colors are duplicates. I've gone back and forth with, now I feel like you're too far away. Let me see what I can do here. Bear with me. Okay. Anyway, I've gone back and forth with different palettes, and right now I'm just using both of them. Ideally, I would basically just have one, but what can I say? I need everything. I need all the choices. Let me see if this one is dry. Yes. Okay, this one is dry, so I'm going to show you how I finished this. I just saw, what did never mind. Okay. I'm using a champagne gold. That is a Kuretake color, but I mean, there's certainly, I'm sure, many brands that have champagne gold. I have one also by Fine Tech that I like. It's the same thing basically, so I'm just using up the ones I have. All right, so this painting is calling for champagne gold. This one was like a more of a classic gold color. This one's going to be champagne. And actually, I grabbed my size 6 brush, but I don't want that. That's too big. I want this to be very fine splatter. So I'm looking for my size 4. I think that'll do it better. It's just a Princeton Heritage 4 round. Really, I just don't want to overdo it because this painting is already so busy. So I just try to get it over like some of these darker values so it pops a little bit more, and when it's dry, you know, when the light hits it, it'll just have that little bit of shimmer. So that'll be really nice. I think I like that a lot. Let's see what this page might want to do next. I'm feeling like using this color palette again. I really just find this to be lovely, so I like to paint in a square format because my brain likes that more in terms of composition. But this sketchbook is not square, and yes, I could, you know, tape off a square or whatever, but I'm just going with what it is. I'm accepting this sketchbook for what it is. I bought this quite a while ago, but if I bought a new sketchbook that was watercolor, like cotton, it would be a square. I love my square sketchbooks, that's for sure. And actually, this is a B paper 100% cotton sketchbook, and I don't know, I think it's 140 pounds. I might be able to tell you. What is it? Yes, it is 140. So anyway, they make this in an 8x8 also, which is the size of the one I just finished, which I should show that to you, but I don't think I'm going to do that today because I'm actually in the zone with painting. And I have an hour until I have to go get my kids. All right, so I'm adding this yellow. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get like a reddish yellow going next. One thing I can say about these sketchbooks is I've learned not to paint on both sides of the paper. I just paint on the like front side. If you paint on the back side, it's just not the same. It's like any watercolor paper. Like if I was going to paint on a loose sheet of paper, I would not paint on the back side of the paper. And I always used to do that in my sketchbooks. But like I wouldn't do that on like I said, like on a regular just piece of paper. So I don't really do that anymore. Although I will say that Arteza sketchbook, the rules don't apply because for some reason both sides of that paper are pretty good. Anyway, yes, I'm rambling about this, but whatever. You're the one sitting here watching me, so what does that say about you? Okay, I'm just going into that hematite bronze, what's it called? Hematite burnt scarlet genuine. And then there's this other color. What's this one called? Oh, no, it's not that. Where are you? There's another color. It's more, I don't know how to describe it really. I don't even know what it's called. That is a problem. I'm looking in my watercolor tube drawers and I don't see it, but it is a nice granulating reddish color. So I'm going to tap that into, that's a little dark. Oh, this is just, these colors like are just so gorgeous. And these are still wet, so it's bleeding in. Like that was unexpected and maybe not what I was going for, but I don't really care. Not. I'm just playing, okay? You know, I'm not being fussy about exactly what's happening. This painting might be terrible. It might be awesome. I don't know. I feel like I'm not quite sure about the composition yet, but probably the darkest values will end up maybe in here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think, I try not to think like that. I do have certain compositions that just naturally happen in my paintings, but this one is actually a little different than normal for me for some reason, and that's okay. It's just a sketchbook. And actually, this is the first page of my little new sketchbook, so maybe I'll get out my watercolor. I have like a box of all of my watercolor tubes, and I'll see if I can find what that reddish color is. It's right here in my palette. I don't remember what it's called. So I'm just getting even a darker value of that sort of mixture of my brown granulating colors. Sorry, but there's like a little hair, a little lonely, probably cat hair hanging out right there. I like to keep a just a scrap sheet to see, so I can put down a value that I've grabbed and see if it's too dark. Like that, that's pretty good. That's kind of what I think I want right now. I don't know. Interesting. Okay, the other thing I need to do, or I want to do, is go in with more of a, this color I'm about to use is called, you know what, I have to get it out anyway because I'm almost out of it in this palette. Okay, so let me get that color out because I need to refill it, and then I can look for the other color I was talking about. Okay, this is my favorite red. I'm not big on reds, like classic reds, but this color is called Quinacridone Red Light by Schminke. I'm just trying to roll up the end of the tube. And so it's kind of a coral red, which I love. So I'm refilling that. And I think that's what I have right here, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't see that other color. I don't know what that color is. There's nothing in my little box here that is that color. So I don't know. It might be, there's only like two things it could be. No. I can drive myself crazy with this kind of thing. I think it's got to be this one, Piemontite Genuine. That's got to be it. That's the only color that makes any sense for it to be. So it is a nice granulating, like neutrally red color. I don't tend to use it on its own. I tend to mix it with other things. Like if I have a red or a pink that's too bright or something, I can mix that with it and tone it down a bit. Now here's the problem with where I'm at with this painting. There are still wet areas, but they are well into their drying process now. So if I hit a wet area like that with this paint I have in my brush, the bleeding might not be what I want it to be. So I might, that is pretty intensely bright. I think I'm gonna wait until this is dry. Because if it bleeds right now, it's going to look bad. That's my gut feeling about it. So I'm gonna rinse off the paint I have on there. Actually, let's do a little detective work and see if this color is my quinacridone red light. I'm pretty sure it is, but I want to make sure. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll swatch the one that I know. For sure that's what it is. Yep, that's what it is. Okay. Yes, I have 3 water cups, and I just like to have one that's like really clean, so I have 3 so that I can not have to go refill them all the time. What next? I really like where this is going, and part of my style is like doing a lot of layers and being patient while they dry so that I don't get unintended effects. um, all right, I'll be back when this is dry. Okay, I was looking at this. First of all, the other page is still drying. It might be dry, but I was thinking, let me just see about this painting. I haven't painted one of these in a while, so I don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe I'll delete this part of the video if it's really bad. But okay, let me show you one that's done. So here's one that I really like how this turned out. I don't want to look at this too much though, because yeah, I just have to start painting basically. I've really been painting like abstracts lately, and I haven't been doing florals. And what I kind of want to do is play with that style I just showed you, but make it a little more abstract. I don't know that I'm going to succeed in that today, but I've been thinking about it. I don't really know how to do it yet, I think. It's funny, I've been feeling very like free and loose in my painting lately, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to do a floral and like I feel a little more uptight about it. Also, having myself on recording what I'm doing is probably contributing to that feeling, but that's okay. That's part of what I want to share on here, is like feeling a little uncomfortable, but just pushing through it. I think that that's such an important, it's not, maybe it's a skill, I don't know. It's just something that, there's always little hairs in my brushes. I'm always pulling them out, so bear with me on that. But when I paint these, I'm basically inspired by dahlia flowers. I know you can't see what I'm doing up here. Let me zoom out a hair and see if that's better. I'm just mixing up pinks. Basically like, what is this color? Probably like quinacridone magenta type color. I don't know what color is in that well. I don't use that kind of color that often, I would say. It's got to be quinacridone magenta. So here's where I have to kind of start thinking about composition. Yeah, as far as me trying to make this more abstract, I would say I'm not doing that. Mainly because I'm just dipping my feet back into painting in this style. So I think I would have to play with that idea probably off camera. And so that's that. I mean, these are pretty abstract anyway. I think I'm going to put another flower here and see how I feel about it. As I go, I kind of like dip into my brush. I dip into my water, dip my brush into my water and release some of the pigment. I don't want all the flowers to have, or all the petals to have the same value. I want it to be varied. Like, well, anyway. Going back into my pink and getting a light value, and I'm going to suggest some petals in some places. A lot of times I end up putting too many flowers and then I don't leave room for my leaves that I do at a later time. And I think this painting is actually working in that way because I'm not overcrowding with the flowers. So then I can add in other elements to complement the composition that I have with the flowers. One thing I'm thinking here is I need a little more, I want to have a little more value. Okay. Like I said, it's been months since I painted one of these, so which is good actually, because sometimes I get stuck in a certain way of doing it, and when I take time away and I come back, it works again. Like I feel like I was getting to a place with these where I was really struggling a lot, and I had to take a break from it. Actually, florals in general, I was needing to take a break from, and I did. And I feel the urge to start painting them again. I am in an abstract phase for sure. I mean, I'm pretty much always painting abstracts, but so there's some wet paint here I'm going over with my pencil that it is not taking down as much pigment when I hit that area, but I'm okay with that. I think it adds to like having different values going in this painting. I'm holding, well, this pencil is really small. I need to get out a new one, I think, but actually, you know what I really need is those pencil extenders because there's still a decent amount of pencil left here. But anyway, I'm holding it in a very loose way. I don't want my little leaves to all be perfect. God forbid, I cannot be having that. So I am holding it loose. I'm spinning the pencil as I go so that my lines are really wacky, and I like that look. So even the less perfect they are, the better, in my opinion. Perfect is not, first of all, perfect does not exist. And secondly, I find perfection very boring, and I don't want that in my paintings. And the artists that I like and gravitate toward are like that too. So anyway, so there's that. I might just like pop a little color on top of those. I'm having a hot mess on my desk, but that's okay. I can clean it up later. Ooh, I haven't painted with green in a while. I'm just grabbing some dirty, this is totally stuck. This, oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, so don't trust anything I say or do. But anyway, I'm grabbing some dirty, muddy green that's on my palette. I'm going to just tease some of these flowers. I'm going to dip my brush so I get a lighter value. Now I put it in my dirty water. Now it's not even green anymore. It's like purpley green. And I'm going to grab a different brush, get it wet, dab it off, and I'm going to soften up this first petal, take the edges kind of away, just lifting it out. And then I'm going to splatter around that area. I'm going to go back into my color, get a little more saturated color, but it's still pretty look, I'm holding my brush at the very edge. I'm not trying to control it. I want it to be wacky and free and not like I'm trying to paint leaves here. It's just a splash of color, and the drawing with the colored pencil gives it a little more of a form. I think that, you know, the rest of the painting, well, I think the flowers are a little more, have a little more form in this painting, and that's where the focus is meant to be. I will probably, I don't know, we'll see. I might come back and add some more pigment in these. I guess I could try it now and see what happens, if I like it or not. I can always take it out. I could add some more pigment with watercolor, more little hairs on my brush. Sorry about that. Just add a little bit of pigment in certain areas. Let it bleed into the wet paint. And then if I really think it's not enough, once I get farther along in this painting, I can always draw with a darker pencil on it. And so I'm just adding this color a few other places, and then I will go back in again and lift the edges out. I don't really want a lot of like hard lines. I just want that color in the painting. Okay, that's cool. I like where this is going. And my flowers. Okay, so the next thing I will do, I'm trying to see if they're dry. They're not dry. I think I will probably let this dry now, and then I'll come back and add more layers to the flowers. So I'll show you my finished painting just in case I don't come back in this video for this painting. What I will do is add darker layers in the flowers so that they pop. Mostly, I would say this one will be probably the focal point. I'll do it a little bit with all of them. And then I'll add some leaves. I might do this teal color. I think that might be nice. In fact, because I have wet paint, I might do it now. I am okay with this bleeding into other areas. Well, I'll do this and then I'll finish my thought from before. Oh, that's a nice color. Wow. So this color, I don't know how well it's going to lift. This is pretty staining. So these edges are not going to lift out quite like I might prefer. I'm kind of scrubbing it a little bit. It's not coming out. So the edges are what they are. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to fuss with it too much, but I definitely want another leaf like that. Where do I want to put it? I feel like one right here. See, I went with a lighter value to start with on this one because now I can lift out the edges. And then I can add more pigment to it now. Look, I use like 10,000 different paintbrushes when I paint. It's just, I don't know. I can't explain myself really on that, but it doesn't particularly really matter. Like you could do this all with one brush. I'm not, you know. Okay, I like that. Let's do another one. And really, sometimes I just have to work really fast or I'm going to lose the opportunity to, like, say, to get this, well, first of all, this hair out of here, but to get this edge to fade. Like, if I wait too long, this paint that I picked is so staining. It's just, I can't get that edge out. So, anyway, all right. That's, for now, I think that's what I'm going to do. I say that, and then I think the next thing I want to do. Also, what time is it? Because I have to go soon. Oh, I have a half an hour. All right, so I'm grabbing a brush that has more of a point, a pointed round. This is silver black velvet. I'm going to grab a dark value of that teal I was working with and show you what else I like to do to these leaves. Winsor & Newton Aqua Green is a really nice teal, but I'm just grabbing paint that's on my palette and mixing other paints. Like, it's not just one color. So I have a pretty saturated paint on my brush now with that very fine tip of the black velvet round. Another hair. Oh, this is what happens when you have 3 animals in your house. Anyway, so I'm going to just like touch the edges. I'm going to create like some lines. And because it's still wet, it can bleed a little bit. I'm not outlining. I'm not like trying to give away every detail. It's sort of, I don't know how to explain what I'm really saying, but maybe you understand. Like, I'm not painting every detail of the leaf. I'm painting a suggestion of a leaf more so. I'm looking at the other painting to see what else I might want to do. This is like the messy middle phase, I would say, of this painting. It's not, there's going to be some details that I add that will really make it pop. We're not really there yet, so it's still kind of a little awkward. And I've learned that that's fine. Like, I'm comfortable in that place, but it's just what it is. It's true. There can be these awkward moments in your painting that make you start to question, like, yourself. And it can be very, very difficult to deal with that. I know, believe me. I've been there many times, and it's still, something that happens to me, but because I just have never stopped painting, it is something I've learned how to work through, I guess. And the basic idea is you just keep going. Uh, so now I'm going to add like some outlines, but not outlines on every petal, not perfect outlines. Maybe it's just on one side like that. So these two, I would say I want to pop out of the painting a bit more. I'm going to check my email because I want to see if, oh my gosh, they didn't write back to me. Anyway, it's a long story. It's not that interesting. I won't bore you with my drama with my kids at school today. Got one kid that's like not feeling good. They were both supposed to stay after school for clubs. And so I'm trying to figure out if I'm picking both of them up at normal time. Anyway, okay. I like where this is going. It's very similar to this one. But that's cool because, like I said, it's been months since I painted one of these, and I feel like this one's going in a pretty good direction. Let me show you real quick what else I like to do, because I have the yellow flowers dry, so I can go over with my pencil. I don't know if I'm going to add any more watercolor layers on top of the yellow one. I might not, because I feel like I can add some detail with this pencil and not just distract from these. And when these two are dry, I will do the same thing with a red pencil and even pull them out even more. I might even add some darker layers, but I won't do it until they're dry because I don't want it to bleed anymore. It's already getting a little muddy. I will also do the same thing with the leaves. I will go back in with like a teal pencil and draw some lines there. One thing I did in this painting that I really like, I took a color, this lavender, and I just sort of like randomly put it in places, and I really like how that worked. I feel like it was a really good move, so I might just do that now. The point is really not to have it be anything, it's just getting that color in the painting. could splatter. Oh, that splatter went like right where I wanted it to. I have, okay, the truth is I have 4 water cups and 2 of them, actually 3 of them are getting pretty dirty. So I think I'm gonna have to dump those. I dump them outside, like in these rocks, because really you should not be dumping this stuff down the drain at all. So I need to do that. I need to put some clothes in the dryer, so I probably should go. I'll probably continue this video either tomorrow. Yeah, I can finish this tomorrow. I'm probably done painting for today because, well, gotta get the kids, gotta do all the things, and sometimes it's good to take a step away from a painting and come back to it with fresh eyes and see what else it wants, what else it needs. I am pretty darn pleased with this so far, but I know I can up the magic potential of this with a little more detail and some darker values. So I will be doing that tomorrow, and well, for you, it's going to just continue because you're watching this and that's going to, yeah, okay, just shut up, Shanna. Okay, see you tomorrow. It is the next day. I am back. I actually ended up finishing this last night and I couldn't record because, well, my lighting is not good after dark, and that's kind of on purpose. And I had a 6-year-old making a birthday card for his teacher sitting next to me. So, anyway, really all I did was add some fine details to this. At the end, I put some gold splatter, which you might be able to see. I did a few more layers on the yellow flower. I may have added something on the pink flowers since I last recorded. I don't know. I definitely added some lines and things, but anyway, I really, now that I've come back to this today after being away from it for a day, I really like it. Okay, I keep getting interrupted by my husband. He works from home and he just came up here just to like chit chat. So, anyway, I am very pleased with this painting, especially since like I said, I haven't painted any florals in a while. I kind of, I would say, felt intimidated. Like I've been in my little happy zone with my abstracts, and anyway, so this one is very similar to the other one I showed you, and it has its own little flavor, but I think that the composition of the new one I like. Maybe it's got this like weird white space right here, but I like to have some white space in my paintings. So anyway, I'm definitely not feeling critical of myself. So let's write down 8/25. I like putting the month and the year that I do paintings. I think I'll tuck that in there with its little sister. Oh, here's what's on the other side. I like these floral abstracts. I've painted many of these and they make me happy. So I don't know, I might do some more of that. All right, but in the meantime, I have this painting. I've had this hanging on my fridge for a while and I keep looking at it and I'm just trying to like straighten it out. It's curving. And this isn't really my jam right now, this style, but I think I might, well, not I think. I actually started a painting yesterday that will be one of these. I'm going to put down layers right now for this painting, but each layer pretty much has to dry before I put the new one down, so they take a little while. There's like a little mark on this painting, drive me crazy, but I don't think I can get it out. I think I tried. Let's see if the electric eraser will do it. Trying to clean it off first. No, and actually I think I'm making it worse. I'm getting the paper dirty. Let's try a different eraser. Let's try this eraser. I believe I already tried to get this mark out and I can't get it out, so yeah. Actually, one of my very favorite paintings of all time has a mark on it, and I can't get that one out either, which really is upsetting. I don't know what got on it, but I definitely have learned to be more careful with paintings. That's why I like putting them in these sleeves and then like in a binder. I need to get more of these because they are critical for keeping your paintings safe, I guess. And with that said, I'm gonna slip that in there. Maybe I'll put it on the other side. I'm just gonna have that off to the side so I can sort of loosely be inspired by it. Getting out my watercolors. I've got my tray of neocolors out, but I'm going to put those away. Okay. I am not using that color palette from that other painting, however. I'm using a different color palette, which is in my brain. I don't have anything to grab quickly to show you, but it's going to be yeah, like right now, this painting does not look like much at all, but with layering, it will become something really amazing. Ooh, okay. I know that my darker values are going to concentrate in this area, so I don't really care about the edges of this because I'll cover it up. But if I wanted to soften those edges, I'm cleaning off my brush and I'll just come back in and clean it up. This is B paper, the same paper I think I was talking about earlier in this video. It is 100% cotton and it is very staining paper. It's very hard to lift edges out, although actually this is actually lifting out, but in general, this paper is very staining, so yeah. I want more. Sometimes I can get away with doing two colors without letting them dry, and if they bleed into each other, it's okay with me. So I think I am going to add one more swatch here. You know, it's going to bleed in, but I'll probably cover that up. Not that it's even a problem, it's just these areas will be peeking out, and then this will be covered all through here, so. And then once I put a moon in this painting, it's just going to pull it all together. So that is where I'm going to leave that for now. I don't want to get too muddied up. I want those crisp edges and clean lines, which is funny because that's not really how I'm painting right now in general. It's not really my feeling right now, but it's good to mix it up. Okay. On that note, I think I'm going to end this video and maybe start a new one because I finished the floral painting, and that was really all I wanted to do on this video, is show you the finished product of this one. And then I got carried away and started this. So anyway, I'm going to end this one and probably finish this one in my next video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.